Jeremiah headed to the man they had been speaking to and used his own matter magic to use the man's clothing to bind him, effectively hog-tying him. As Jeremiah restrained the man, Erin was able to release that part of the spell work, which gave her better control over the 6 remaining. Leo stayed close to Erin so that if one of the ghouls became free, he could go after it and subdue it. All told, there were 5 males and 2 females. One of the males was a minor, and everyone else was in their 20s or 30s. Once they were all bound, Leo and Erin headed over to where Jeremiah was standing. Leo stayed in his half-man form because it would give him the best sense of smell, and if the werewolves they found here tried to attack them too for any reason, he would be best able to fight back in this form. Jeremiah began speaking to the ghouls in Spanish.
I'm giving you a choice today. I can change you back to fully human, and you can go your way, or you can remain a ghoul. If you stay a ghoul, you will have to find a new vampire to be your master, because the ones here are about to die. Make your choices.
Will my cancer come back?
One asked.
Whatever ailments you had will return. However, my cousin and I can see if it is something we can fix. I know I can kill the cancer you have, but I can't guarantee it won't return. Anyone else?
The child spoke up.
What of me? I have served my master for 100 years. I know if you return me to human, I will die.
Yes. If you have lived beyond a normal lifespan, becoming human again will kill you. It might be preferable that to becoming worse than a rabid animal, should you be without a vampire's blood to keep you sane.
I will take my chances.
The child replied. The others were newer ghouls and decided to become human again. Jeremiah led Erin in finding the cancer and using their death arcane to remove the vampiric presence within them. 2 of them had cancers, which is why they wanted to become vampires. Jeremiah killed the cancer cells within them, and they waited for the others so they could all leave together on the vehicles they came in on. Another had AIDS and planned to find another vampire quickly to return to being a ghoul because AIDS was beyond what a mage could cure. Jeremiah did his best to heal the rest of the man's body and truly felt sympathy for him. Erin wondered what their great-great-great-grandfather would think of AIDS, and if would have been able to figure out a cure for it. Once the ghouls were settled, and the now humans again had left, Leo led them to where the vampires were sleeping the day away by following their scent. He pointed to one of the caskets.
That one is a gangrel.
We'll let that one live for now then. We'll wait until he wakes to talk to him.
Jeremiah replied, and Leo nodded his agreement. They dragged the rest out into the open and opened the caskets. There was much screeching as they woke up just long enough to know they were burning in the sun. In all that time, the child ghoul made no indication that his master had just burned. After the vampires had been taken care of, they headed to the werewolf pens. They had all been forced into their half-man phases, and the cages were all pure silver. Many had numerous silver burns from trying to escape over and over again. Many also sported whip wounds, and all of them looked a little crazed.
Is it even going to be safe to let them out without having a pack here?
Erin asked.
I'll try and talk to them.
Leo replied. He walked over to the nearest cage. He switched to Spanish.
Friends, safe now. Be men again.
Erin, go get the first aid kit and call Alpha Santos. I got his number in my book. I think I saw a phone where the vampires were resting. See if it works. Otherwise, take the car and get to the nearest phone.
Jeremiah tossed her the car keys. She ran back to the hearse and found the first aid kit. It was way too small, but maybe it would help a little bit. She also brought the bag of snacks they had gotten at the last gas station they stopped at. It wouldn't be much to a hungry werewolf, but it might be enough to let them know they were here to help. After dropping the kit and snacks off, she headed back to the buildings to see if the phone worked. She was in luck and was able to get a hold of Alpha Santos, tell him where they were and what they had found. He would be up with a team within the hour. Erin came back with the good news to find Leo handing a pack of Twinkies to a werewolf in human form. Some had switched to wolf form instead, and that was still an improvement.
Alpha Santos will be here within the hour, he said. I also moved the ghoul to the shade. I think he might be the gangrel's ghoul. He actually seemed happy the other vampires were being killed.
Henry.
The werewolf who had changed to human form said. The others all perked up at the name.
The little boy? You didn't hurt him, did you? He's been our only kindness.
Another quickly shifted to human form.
He would give us extra food and let us shift out of our half form while it was his turn to watch us. He's the gangrel's ghoul. They were working on getting in contact with a nearby pack, but had to be careful about approaching.
They are both unharmed. Do you want me to bring him to you?
Erin asked. There were many nods, and a few more turned back to human form. Erin nodded and headed back to Henry.
Are you really the gangrel's ghoul?
You didn't kill my master. I was worried you wouldn't know about them. I know where the nearest gangrel coven is, so I would have been safe.
They are asking after you and want you there.
She undid his restraints. Henry switched to English.
Let's get water first. I saw you took some food. I have some too. Come.
He hurried to one of the buildings they hadn't entered and began filling large jugs of water.
There, in the fridge. Get the big bucket of cooked chicken.
Erin grabbed the bucket which took both hands to carry, while Henry carried the giant jugs of water with ease.
How are you carrying all that?
She asked him.
Being in service to a vampire grants us strength. We must receive nourishment from our master in order to maintain strength.
He led her back to the pens.
My master and I look for places such as this all over the world. We have to wait many years between bringing down a fighting ring, or they will know what we do, so we can never do two in the same continent in a row. We may have to lay low for a decade or two before going after another.
Henry explained as he walked. As they came into the area with the werewolves, as soon as they saw Henry, the rest of them switched to their human forms. Several called out happy greetings and expressed happiness he was really safe.
Let's get you out of those cages. We weren't sure if you would end up attacking us too,
Jeremiah said as he headed over to the nearest cage. Erin handed over the chicken to Leo before heading to another cage to open it. As the werewolves were freed, they came over to Leo and Henry to grab some chicken and to gulp down some water.
Alpha Santos will be here soon.
Erin called out to the wolves. They all visibly calmed further. It wasn't long before the Alpha and a contingent of his people showed up. The first aid pack they had was very small, so the first aid supplies they brought were very welcome sights. He also brought food and drinks.
Who is this?
Santos sniffed.
Ghoul? Gangrel?
This is Henry. He is the ghoul to the gangrel vampire still sleeping. They are among the gangrel clan that go and find these places for liberation.
Erin replied.
You aren't going to harm him, are you?
A freed werewolf stepped in front of Henry protectively.
He is the only reason we are still alive.
Why didn't he contact me then, or any other pack?
Santos countered. He knew the gangrel helped werewolves, but his was the nearest pack. They should have contacted him like the mages did.
We can't contact a pack immediately. That would be obvious who did it. We have to wait until we have gained trust. That means we have to be just as mean when others are around. Sometimes we have to wait months before we are no longer suspected. If we found these and immediately had them shut down, we would never be allowed anywhere near these, and we could even be hunted down by other vampires. We are already disliked by other clans and called wet dogs, treated like workhorses for other clans, distrusted for our deeper connection to our animalism. We bow and take the abuse for you to doubt our sincerity?
Santos was taken aback. It was the 1-2 punch of learning what the gangrel go through within vampire society, on top of it coming from the mouth of a child.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize. We really do appreciate all your people do for us.
Things settled down, and the liberated wolves were taken back to Santos's pack to finish healing up before going back to their own packs. Henry and his master left as soon as full dark fell. His coffin was also brought out where the others were, opened, and ash from the other vampires was put in his coffin. Warriors stayed to attack any vampires that showed up, while the trio drove to Santos's pack as it was the last on their list before heading home.
Hey everyone, hope you loved the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe for more awesome sci-fi content. You can also support us by hitting the thanks button or becoming a channel member. Your generosity helps us bring you more stellar stories. Every bit counts. Thanks a bunch.